big competitive advantage over us, so it's a matter of balancing that out. I think we. Who was number 6 on the way to 7? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I'd like to know what your stand is on the Employee Free Choice Act.
My stance is that I am for the objectives, and we have worked out a compromise which I think will satisfy those objectives, and now I'll be very specific. The Act has 2 provisions, 2 objectives. One is to provide for union certification, and the second is to provide for a contract. On the contract, what the unions want is arbitration, and I'm for arbitration, which is last best offer. So it's like in baseball, each side gives their best offer and pulls people to the center. A compromise has been worked out, which has been sanctioned by John Sweeney, head of the FLCIO, Bill Samuels, and others, which would strengthen the union's opportunity to get certified, but will not have the card check. Even though you could, under card check, have a secret ballot, most of the thrust of it would be just collect 51% of the cards. And what we're doing to strengthen the union's hand on certification is giving you unions equal standing. If the employer has a meeting on company time, company property, union has equal standing. If the employer fires somebody for trying to have a union, it no longer is it a back pay minus what they could have earned somewhere else. It's 3 times the pay. So we have not made a public disclosure in any detail because we didn't want a bill hanging out all August to be shot down by the Chamber of Commerce. That's our thinking. Who has the last word? Yes, sir.
Thank you again for coming to beautiful downtown Franklin, Pennsylvania. As the Chamber says, a wonderful place to shop. Before I ask my question, I told some folks here when we were awaiting your arrival that you were going to arrive right about 70 seconds. It might have been real close to that. He answered many questions in the parking lot, some from serious malcontents, which leads me to my question. You heard today in the parking lot, and I'm sure in your travels, those that have signs and banners and comments not to touch the health care at all. I always like to go right at the heart of the situation. These are the folks that are most off base, if you will, in contending that our health care is not screwed up. What one thing have you found resonates with those kinds of folks that we can take that argument away? I can't imagine somebody in this country not seeing that something better can be made of this healthcare system we have. Is there one thing that you think will resonate well with those kinds of folks?
To pick out the most important thing is that if we don't change the current system, the people who are happy with their insurance coverage will lose it. And they will lose it because of escalating costs. A policy that cost $5,500 10 years ago is now $12,000. 10 years from now is projected to be $26,000. Adam was happy with his insurance.
Actually, I wasn't happy. I paid too much for it.
Adam wasn't happy. However unhappy Adam was with his insurance, he's more unhappy now. So I got Adam back fine. He's more unhappy now. Listen, it's relative. It's a relative matter. What's it going to be like if you keep the current system? It's going to be a calamity. And to bring it home to the millions of people who are happy with their insurance, don't want to change the system. One of the guys out there said, why are you changing the whole system? Well, we're changing, reducing costs, which makes sense for everybody. That's the core point. The other points are that we need to catch illness at an early stage by having annual exams in the policy. If you have to go pay for an annual exam, you might not do it. You don't have to pay for it, you're going to do it. You have Hodgkin's, you catch it early. You have prostate cancer, you catch it early. You sneeze, you catch it early.
Bless you.
So that will cut down a lot of the costs. Now, I pushed research under the National Institutes of Health. What better way to cut down costs than to prevent the illnesses? Save lives and save costs.
You do it for your car. You do it for your car, why not do it for your body?
Well, that's a pretty good point. Preventative maintenance, you can change oil on your car. There are some really powerful arguments, and also the bugaboos about the death commissions. Not true. Also, we're going to try to improve lifestyles. Safeway has a plan. If you don't smoke, you get a lower rate. If they take your blood test, your cholesterol's down, they give you a lower rate.
Yeah, but there are certain people who cannot. I mean, I've taken cholesterol medicine. I've taken, it doesn't matter. As long as we keep it in there, we don't discriminate against people who have high blood pressure, who have high cholesterol. As long as it's pre-existing conditions in these policies. And I heard a Republican on the television the other day. Oh, it might cost them twice as much. Or twice as much too much. These policies have to be equal out.
Pre-existing condition limitation to go. That's a loophole to deny coverage. Right? You get sick, they say, well, you didn't tell us you had this potential. Well, how did you know you had the potential? If you have high blood pressure, you're going to be covered under the policy. If you have low cholesterol, you may get a break, but you're not going to be excluded because you have pre-existing conditions.
It should be